much as they could. We could be even many more than we are today, simply because of this problem of COVID. So what strategies are we putting in place to see that we overcome the problems that have been occasioned by COVID is part of the design that we are working on. I think I should stop there for now.
For now, but I wanted to ask very briefly. I now understand that Tooro Kingdom, or Tooro, Tooro City,
yes,
is a tourism city. Are there any other tourism cities? And if not, what does it mean for Tooro, or Port for that matter, to be a tourism city?
Ekyooto is unique in its own right. By virtue of its location, really well located. That's where many of the tourism attractions you're kind of surrounded by the very best the country has to do. And that, in a way, makes you a tourism city. But you also have very strong cultural attraction. People are known to be very hospitable people. You have a thriving kingdom, and everybody really is looking forward to coming to Tooro to enjoy the hospitality that the Tooro offers. So that makes it really a natural tourism city. But I must say, you're not the only ones who are selling tourism all around this country. Ginger is a big one. We term it as the adventure where people go for adventure tourism and whatever. But we expect to have, in fact, most of the opportunities related to tourism. So what it will mean later is how we compete and maintain that position, how we compete and make the very best of this opportunity that we do.
Thank you very much. I'm disappointed that you did not include Kalare as Switzerland of Uganda. But now that we're in Port, allow me to go to what's John. Tooro Kingdom. When we go way back to our history, our geography when we were growing up, it's one of the most powerful kingdoms actually in Uganda. And in terms of resources, it's very well endowed. The other day we were, I think you have how many prelates? 15 prelates or something like that? 50. Oh my goodness. So lots of beautiful things. Perhaps if you'd like to introduce yourself, the role you do within the kingdom, and what the participants here today can expect in terms of the kingdom's support and drive for young people to engage more in tourism, entrepreneurship, and the likes.
Thank you so much. We would like to talk about Kigezi, but the forum.
I know.
Can I also just go ahead? Please make this very, very clear. This is not a tourism city. It is the capital tourism city. It's not just a tourism city. Anybody can come up and say that this is the capital of Uganda. It has the tourism cities concerned. One of them who is here, how come we can each other? Can you imagine that? And having said that, kama kila mseja na kwanza msinga kanene mkimani so the energy and the balance is on you to improve set up this youth center, and you've seen how much you're supporting the youth center for you guys. It's entirely up to you to make sure that you use it. I'm the Minister of Tourism in the Tooro Kingdom, and I love my job. To be equivalent to Jacobazahila, it's a very, very long story. Story
you mentioned something about the youth center. This event is being live streamed. So for those who are
I've changed this one.
Haven't seen the center, you want to throw some more light about this center, what does it do, what opportunities are there for young people at this center?
Kingdom, unless you're taught how to handle your money, and if you do business, it cannot work. You cannot throw down the amount of our microfinance by a youth center, and they just have to do a same thing, quite the same thing. I'm a hooligan. Isn't it? Isn't that what you call it? You eat the profit, not all of it. Yes, so that's exactly what we're doing. All that is initiative of His Majesty.
Thank you very much. Perhaps I would like to go to our third guest, my good friend Amos Professor. As I mentioned, does a lot of work around tourism, but lately he's so into agriculture as well, and very many other things. Amos, welcome. If you'd like to introduce yourself and with the work that you do, especially around tourism and agriculture, what are your thoughts about this beautiful city?
Thank you so much, Dennis. Nice to see you this morning. Nice to see you guys. My name is
Just put in the middle.
eastern part of Uganda for agro processing. Not home,
Actually, it's about 1 hour and a half hours away from my home. Very glad to be in the agriculture sector. But I have very special, Tooro has a very special place in my heart. I always tell people that I first came to Tooro in 1999. Many of you probably were not even born. When I arrived here, I was earning $1 a day. I worked. And I remember telling my friends that if I ever make money in my life, Tooro will be the first place that I would ever invest. And Tooro, generally speaking, Kabarore, was or is the first place that I put my first lodge, and that's Primate Lodge, the main lodge in Chivale National Park, in 2007. That was 8 years later. So dreams are valid. Dreams are free. So as young people, I want you to understand that if you have no dream, you can never chase anything that is not in your head. You have to conceive what you want to be in your head first, and that helps you work towards achieving your dream. That's what happens. So for me, Tooro is very, very key. I think one of the reasons why Tooro is a tourism capital of Uganda is its proximity, like my colleagues just talked about, to so many things. You have over 55 crater lakes in this region. You also have Chivale National Park, which is 795 square kilometers, and also called the World Capital of Primates. There is nowhere in the world that you'll find a concentration of primates than Kibale National Park. And that includes a major attraction called the chimpanzees, which are among the 13 different types of primates. Beyond that, you've got about 1,500 individuals. There's nowhere in the world that you'll find a concentration of chimpanzees in one small forest like you'll find in Kibale National Park. There are many different species of birds in there, there are many different species of butterflies, many species of trees, a lot of medicinal trees within that forest. And to be honest, that forest has been underused, in my opinion, because it cannot just be a forest for the chimpanzee trekking. It can be one of the best places to do long distance walks, canopy walks. There's lots of studies that can be made in that place. Then you also have the Rwenzoris that are on our backdrop. Rwenzoris are the largest block of mountains on the continent. They're 120 kilometers long and 43 kilometers wide. And they're the most technical mountains on the country. You have the 3rd, 4th, 5th highest peaks on the continent on the Rwenzoris. In terms of single peak, in Africa, it is Kibo on Kilimanjaro, that's not the highest. Second is Mount Kenya. But all these are walking mountains. Mount Rwenzori is called a technical mountain because you need a bit of technique in order to climb to the top. And it's also unique in the way that it's almost crossed into two by the equator and has snow. So it's a very unique component. And you should also know that the Rwenzoris, the peak of the Rwenzoris, is about 100 kilometers from the lowest point in Uganda, which is 622 meters high above the sea level. And that is around Lake Albert. That's what it is. So you can see some of the greatest features in the area. And then you have Kunezewith National Park, which is just less than 2,000 square kilometers. It has so many unique attributes to it. Quite a number of crater lakes, quite a number of animals, mammals, of course. It's got a big 4, don't have the big 5. You've got Kazinga Channel. There's a unique feature that connects two major lakes, Lake George and Lake Edward. Just about 35 kilometers of a unique natural water canal connecting two major lakes. You've got mining of salts within the same environment. You've got quite a number of tropical forests attached to it. Kalinzu is not far. You've got Maramagambo. You've got Chambura. Chambura is a very special, unique feature where you know you're moving on grassland and all of a sudden you come across a gorge that's 100 meters deep with a tropical rainforest with the chimpanzees. This is a very, very unique attribute. You've got Semiliki National Park, Semiliki Game Reserves that are not so far from this place. And you know that tourism is not just, of course, about national parks, but look at the tea plantations of this area. Look at the culture of the Tooro people. It is something that can be used. Now, of course, Tooro cannot grow without the people of Tooro embracing Tooro. That's very important. People of Tooro will include people like me who have invested in Tooro. I am a stakeholder in Tooro by virtue of my investment. So if you look at Tooro, Tooro could have the same position in Uganda as Arusha is in Tanzania. If you look at the Kilimanjaro alone, Kilimanjaro contributes about $300 million every single year to the economy of Tanzania, but the major beneficiaries of Kilimanjaro in Tanzania are actually those living in Arusha and Moshi. Now, the Tooro people, I think, are a very good example of what is happening, and I want to thank, of course, my sister here, who is Minister of Tourism, and the team that has worked hard, of course, UNDP, the Tooro Kingdom itself, the MP of the area, Alex, and of course, not forgetting Albay and the team, Talent Africa. They've done a fantastic job in showcasing this. But this should not be the end. It should be the beginning. What we want to see is Tooro waking up and one day documenting every attraction within the Tooro Kingdom, Tooro area. Number 2, Tooro should actually be marketing itself across the world. You start marketing yourselves around Uganda, which is a fantastic thing. You're going to be an example to all other regions. And I can assure you that when tourism grows, opportunities grows. Tourism has the highest trickle-down effect of any industry. When I'm a tourist, I come from the UK, like Dennis. Dennis is just a visitor here, by the way. I think he's even an English guy, the MC. When he's coming from the UK, he will have to pay for the ticket. The ticket has $57 as actually taxes. $7 goes to URA, $10 goes to security, $40 goes to handling. Then he pays $50 for the visa.
Dennis, can I remind you that this was introduction?
Sorry.
He was supposed just to say his name.
It is almost impossible to stop almost one.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, it's because I know him. I'm the only person who can do that. I'm telling you.
But now on that particular point,
Yes.
Yes.
and maybe for the benefit of I'll just enjoy
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
One of the things that maybe for us that as young people we need to take is, and I like this, I've seen all you guys taking notes.
Yes.
And I think you're learning more about Tooro Kingdom than you thought you knew. But one of the things I wanted to ask Amos, and then I'll come back to Honorable, is most of these guys clearly inspired to join this tourism space. How do you go about tapping into these opportunities? I followed your story of how you started just guiding people to now where you are. For these young people, how do they start? Because in entrepreneurship, that's one of the first things, starting. You can dream, but if your dreams are not put into action, nothing actually happens. What would you, some few tips for these young people?
Yeah. First, I think it's good for you guys to participate in this. It's opening your eyes. Tourism cuts across so many sectors. For example, if I'm a young person in Tooro, what would I do? I would probably start growing the foods that all the safari lodges in this region, for example, desire. So things like cucumber, carrots, and then you position yourself. You go to all this. If I were you, I would first of all go to the owners of accommodation across the place. They're not going to come to you. That's not how life works. You have to take yourself there. Tell them I'm able to do A, B, C, D. I can do corn flour. I can do cucumbers. I can do the type of foods that these people need. You can even just sit there and say, I am going to provide eggs to all accommodations that provide the tourism services. The other one is you can think about stopovers. The gardens are a very good example of what can actually be done. The other thing that you can do is accommodation. Of course, there's a lot of accommodation coming up, but there are different types of clients. Those who desire camping areas, there are those who desire one-star hotel, there are those who desire boutique hotels, there are those who desire bigger hotels. So you must do a bit of studies on which type of accommodations that you can actually be able to provide for the people. Then Tooro has got lots of attractions, and you can just say, I am going to be a guide that will be walking long distances with tourists. I can also be in biking, and you can learn from my brother there, Justice. You can position yourself as a person that has bicycles that you take tourists going around the area. You can also go into crafts. You can find areas of where you create craft centers where tourists can come and shop your crafts. But it's not just about positioning physical, but you can also position crafts online. Many of you have got phones. These phones are actually a market. You can actually understand how to position a product. You can design a website. When you design a website, you must understand search engine optimization. I have a website. 1 million websites are uploaded every day. How can I be on top? These are the kind of mindset that you need to be having. Dennis, I could talk about this until cows come home.
Indeed. And actually, for the benefit of you guys who are staying with us for the 3 days, there is actually a whole session on digital strategies for your businesses. And especially now, as Amos was talking about, that Tooro should be marketing itself to the rest of the world. You can do no better than be on some of these platforms. I think Amos has about 70,000 people also following him on just one of the various platforms.
Actually, 93 by today.
93,000
on one platform just.
Just on one platform.
Yeah.
And there's quite a number.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter. I think you guys are probably on TikTok. No? What's the missing? Beg your pardon. John. Ekyooto MPANGO. The idea, the concept this year. Is this it? What happens after here? What would you like to see? Is this happening again next year? And after this session, what would you like the young people to be doing?
Wow, that's the best question that I've had. But before I go to that question, let me just add on to these young people. In Tooro, we are endowed When you've got a weight of 2 and nobody has it. We've had Amos comparing us with Moshi, with Arusha. I don't actually, in addition to that, River MPANGO. You know that River MPANGO? River Yetu ya MPANGO. You know what Tagmanyil? You all know it, eh? So that river of MPANGO, if you look at that river, if you look at that river at a level, it's exactly like how the Thames are in London. If you look at that river, it's exactly how New York is with Hudson. So do you see where we are? Do you see the potentials that we have in this capital city of ours? In 2018, His Majesty chose me as a Minister of Tourism. After 2 years of thinking and calling myself a minister, I took a step back and realized that I can never do tourism on my own. I went back to His Majesty and asked him if he could allow me to have a board, because the only ministry that has a board in the Parliament is the Lands Board. Others, nobody else has a board. So I went in and asked him what to do with the board, if I could have a board. And he allowed me. And I went ahead and picked the board, and he endorsed it. On endorsing it, he told us the first thing that we should do is to go and market Tooro as a tourism city. We went in, started writing and writing and writing. And as we wrote, we started knocking on doors to see who's going to support us. And the more doors that were slammed in our faces, the more clever we became. Every time we'd go somewhere and somebody says, it's not good enough. I don't want to support, because we thought we were going to tell them we have MPANGO, it goes there every year, and so on and so forth. Until one day, when I was talking to a friend of mine in UNDP, by the way, he said, why don't you go in and do some kind of business at the same time? And through that way, if you do a business conference, it will bring all the people together and so on and so forth. As soon as that document got finished, we were hit by COVID. So I went home and sat. But then, you know, when you have a baby, you know, this Amos, did you say you're my friend, by the way?
Yeah, you're my colleague.
So we're not friends.
Yeah, we are friends.
Yeah, we've done a few things together. Yeah. Like what do we do together?
We've gone to marketing. We've done so many stuff.
We sit on the president.
She's actually my vice on Presidential Investors Roundtable. You know.
So we went anyway. So on all those things that we're writing and being refused and refused and refused, after we've got the concept, we're hit with the COVID, then His Majesty called me and said, look here, I like your concept, but you need to tweak it a little bit, because now it is COVID, everybody's hit. You cannot just think of conferences, because the few people will come in. So do something else that is going to be beautiful, and people will come in and have fun, but at the same time, keep the youth, because the youth have suffered a lot. Bring in the youth so that out of it, the youth will end up benefiting. I said, okay. You know, when somebody gives you a challenge, you don't go and sit down. You go and tackle it. So we sat down, went down, and wrote a document. Because we already had a friend in UNDP, so we went back to him. And it's a good friend of mine. It's called Innocent. So we went to Innocent. Innocent, what do you think about this? My goodness me, the man didn't wink. Just said, this is exactly what I was looking for. As we were reaching home, he was telling us, was giving us an appointment to go and meet the boss, Minister of Tourism. So we went to the Minister of Tourism. Then all that was there, we started building this up. You know, what do we really want to see? We want to see the youth, we want to see the culture, we want to see agriculture, we want to see how we can be able to move from where we are to where we want to be. That is, do we want to become Arusha in Moshi? Do we want to become London with the Thames? Do we want to be Hudson with New York? All those things are there. And it's entirely up to us, especially the youth, to make sure that those are at the destinations or even bigger. Because we were looking for ways of how we can celebrate our coronation, MPANGO yetu, properly. So, and you all know that before MPANGO, we always have a week. So this is going to be happening every year. Every year, Ekyooto MPANGO is going to be preceded by MPANGO. Ekyooto MPANGO is to put some fire to wake you up and shake you up. And as it's shaking you up, you're making money. Do you understand it? As it's shaking you up, you guys, you're opening up your mind. You're looking at bigger people. You're looking at Amos. Amos akatandikira hadolemo. Can you imagine?
$200
dola bibiri. Hati mseja mtiagiri aliao. Aina properties and everything. Okay? But this is where we're going. In short, the Ekyooto MPANGO is going to be annual. It's going to be a week before the coronation, which is MPANGO, and it will go on and go on and go on. What we've done is that we've gone to our districts. We've talked to our Saza chiefs, because nobody knows this country like a Saza chief, because he's a lord in his own local place. So we've told them that we're going to have a competition. In each and every district, we want to see how many youth are coming out, and whatever they have in their own district, how much it has benefited the locals. So thank you so much for that question. That's where we're aiming. It's going to be annual, and that's where we want to be.
Really good, especially if development is a bottom-up approach. It tends to become more sustainable. One of the questions I want to ask you is this issue of sustainability. Recently in the UK, we've had this COP26, people talking about global warming. And of course, when the globe warms, it is the Chiba areas, national parks, that are going to suffer. It is the snow that's going to disappear on top of these mountains. I wonder what your thoughts are on the kingdom's position in terms of strategies for making sure that this beautiful land of ours remains as green as possibly could be. So from a sustainability perspective, what strategies do you have as a kingdom so that the tourism, because people come here because this place is beautiful, it's the natural world, we hate for all these trees to be cut. So perhaps you could throw some more light on that.
In the first place, let me thank God that God bestowed us and gave us an intelligent, wisdom, full of wisdom, handsome king. All that said, he woke up and said, within I think maybe before less than 10 years, he wants to see 10 million trees planted. He woke up one morning and went to River MPANGO and said, we have to save River MPANGO. As a king, he was in the dirty water himself. You know, when you talk about people being actioned, this is what we're talking about. Okay. Then he's there encouraging his youth to wake up and start working with him. He has put up, at his age, a model farm that even these young people can go in and see and appreciate. What am I talking about is that as far as environments are concerned, even here, we're going to do Ekyooto. But on Ekyooto, we're here learning how to do briquettes. We're not going to use firewood. We're not going to use charcoal. And this is going to be the first place in the whole of Uganda to start transforming, to start changing the mindset of logging, firewood, charcoal. You know, if you drive that road from Tooro to Kampala, you'll see loads and loads and loads, and you wonder how many trees have come down and for how long this can continue. So here we are, and we're talking to the big people, UNDP, our ministry here, to help us so that we can have, not just to learn how to get, to do with the hand, but to give us machines as well, so that it can actually come out and it's affordable and it's a sustainable kind of thing.
One of the, maybe some thoughts into these brilliant papers that you guys are writing, I hope that you can tap into existing carbon credits. So for these big companies that emit the airlines of this world, the coal companies, the people who invest in businesses that are emitting, often they want to offset their carbon by paying people like the Kingdom of Tooro, for instance, to plant trees. Maybe that's something we want to look into. But now, back to Mr. Liazi. We've heard from the private sector, led by Amos in this case, entrepreneurs, who are singing praises for this kingdom. We've heard from the kingdom and the plans that they have. Obviously, government is the other key player. You are responsible for things like the infrastructure. The road could do, could have a better road, at least in terms of what I saw, but that's not my job. But obviously, physical infrastructure is very important. But there are other forms of infrastructure, things like internet facilities for these guys to upload their businesses. There are other things like government policy on taxes, things like that. So, what are your thoughts on what the government plans to make sure that, especially in the wake of COVID-19, where the vast majority of tourist businesses are shut down because people are not traveling, what is the government doing to support private sector, support organizations or kingdoms like that of Tooro to come back, to build back better and stronger? And then after that, we are going to ask some questions. So if you could please prepare your questions. Make them as brief as possible. Obviously, you introduce yourself and ask your question. But Mr. Liazi.
Thank you so much. A lot has been said on what we need to do to transform ourselves, and in many cases it comes from the individual himself. Amos put it out quite well, that you need to work it out yourself to create the change. Of course, the awareness is very good and all, but at the end of it all, it is you yourself that is going to make the critical change that transforms you into somebody of character, somebody of success, and so on and so forth. Government is there to facilitate that change. We've talked about the critical infrastructure like the roads, and I think Tooro, yes, we have a not so good road, but we have a road. We have a road. Some places really are very inaccessible. I think our road just requires a little bit of polishing up, but it is there, and it is connecting us all through. So I wouldn't really say that is a very big minus. We have a road. We have a road, really, so to speak. We also have a lot of investment in electricity. Not so long ago, we tend to forget. I think power used to stop at Mukunyu, if I remember very well. Chenjojo had no power. Not so long ago. Yes. Not so long ago. Some of you are quite young, may not have seen these things, but it's not so long ago that power was not throughout the whole of Fort Portal or throughout the whole of Tooro. Not so long ago were you having the internet capacities that we have currently. There is a lot to do more in improving on those internet capacities so that we are switched on all the time, so that the costs are low. And I think government is taking those considerations of making sure that the costs of the internet get lower. You remember some time back, I think the past previous 5 years, there were internet taxes and so on and so forth. Those are not there now. So there is a gradual shift in trying to facilitate business to happen. I want to concentrate a lot on capacity, building that capacity, changing the mindset, so that we know which opportunities we have and are able to take full advantage of those opportunities. And that is where the thrust of our intervention is. We're working in partnership with the Tooro Kingdom, with the UNDP, to bring the Ekyooto MPANGO to life. It hasn't been there, and there's a lot of groundwork that is being undertaken. I think Oichitinisa alluded to so many activities that are going on. There's a royal tour right now. The king is leading quite a number of eminent people, moving around to see the very best that Tooro has. And that is a switch on. Once people see, then they believe and they act. I want to give you an example of when we started the Tulamble. Who has ever heard of Tulamble? Tulamble by, it used to be Honorable Chiwanda, moving around Tulamble. Sempire Hot Springs was not very well known. People used to know Chivari exists, but Sempire Hot Springs was not very well known. But indeed, when we moved to Sempire and shone the light on Sempire, that Christmas, Sempire got a lot of visitors that they couldn't even handle. So marketing and promotion is a very powerful tool in opening up your business opportunities. Ekyooto MPANGO is going to open you up. You've been known all over the world using the different social platforms, using the different media platforms. Ekyooto MPANGO has exploded all over the world to say there's something happening in Tooro. And that is shining a light. And all you need to do is to open up and say, welcome guys, this is how we make the money. So we're focusing a lot on promotion. We're focusing on capacity building, training. And this is one of the platforms that we are undertaking. Throughout, this is 3 days, I think. We'll talk about agriculture, we'll talk about investment, we are talking about tourism, and it is an opportunity that you're having, and all those on the digital platforms to ensure that we move on. But what I need to say are elements of value addition. In many cases, when we have a raw product, yes, we produce honey, but how are we selling it? How are we processing it? How are we positioning it for the market? At times you come with a large kadomola of honey of 20,000. I don't have the 20,000 to give you. Do you have a smaller package? Is it nicely said? You're not the only ones who produce honey. You're not the only ones. So how is mine different from the rest? How have I branded? And I think a lot of training is going to go on in this direction, which is being facilitated partly by government, to ensure that you position yourselves in the very best light to take advantage of that market. The other bit that is important is facilitating partnerships. We are working with Tooro, we are working with UNDP. There are quite a number of people. This afternoon, we are going to have a policy dialogue. And a number of people are coming. Buganda Kingdom is coming. Bunyoro Kingdom has come. Busoga Kingdom is on the way. Kampala Capital City Authority is on the way. The World Bank is on the way. They are coming this afternoon to listen to what Tooro has to say, where Tooro wants to go, to share and say, okay, can we partner in this and that and that? So again, how are you positioning yourselves to partner with the key stakeholders that could facilitate this development? And this comes through networking, getting to know people. Yeah, I'm sure this morning when you came, not everyone knows each other, isn't it? Make sure that by the end of today, at least half of the people, you know them by first name and where they work. And you can follow up. And that is very important, networking. So we are facilitating that environment of networking and sustainability and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to know that we had a session in the morning and we introduced ourselves, didn't we? Yes. People might think I'm lying, but we actually did the whole introduction. We know at least everyone by their pet names. Yours was Amoti, wasn't it? Abwori. But we found out that there are more Amotis. So my Mpako is Amoti, and I thought it was a very unique one, but it turns out like almost half Amotis. But now, there's an opportunity to ask a question. So if you'd like to ask a question, please put your hand up. And I'll give you this microphone so that people who are watching online can actually hear what you're saying. So who wants to go first? Who's the brave one? If you never ask, you'll never know. If you never ask, you will never know. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, so you will not hear the sound from the microphones because they are just connected to this system.
I see. I would like to appreciate so far what our panelists have introduced and shared with us. In harnessing the little knowledge I have, harnessing culture I wanted to hear something connected with writing.
Lighting.
Writing.
Writing.
Without writing, you can hardly talk about culture, because what you are sharing now is just going in the air. But once that is put in black and white, then culture is appreciated more. So I wanted to hear from our panelists what they have in an envelope for us, the writing of the people of Tooro. What have they done so far? To see that what we have in our culture is really not only in talking, but also in black and white.
That's a very good question. And I'd like to pass that on to Owachiti Nisa, because this might fall under, maybe if you would like to have that one answered first, as people collect the gas to ask the question. Please be brave. If you never ask, you never know. So culture, writing and documenting our history, our culture. I love watching documentaries often. And I think if I'm not mistaken, there is a movie premiere going on about touring Tooro, something like that. But the gentleman is asking about how we're documenting our culture.
Okay, can I request that whoever is going to ask any question, please go ahead and tell us who you are first, so that we could know how to address you. But nevertheless, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
He actually wants to introduce
he
himself.
wants to.
The person asking this question, I have already introduced myself. I'm Kachomia Isidore from Chenjojo District. I'm the chairman of the Renewal Tooro Language Board. And I'm very much concerned about culture, and that's why I ask about writing. Thank you.
So you see,
Context, you're right.
yes. So now I know why he asked that question. Okay. We have books that have been written on Tooro. The reason why, before I ended up the Ekyooto to come here, we were going from Saza to Saza. Mr. Kachemia norga Saza North or norga Mwenge North or Mwenge South? Mwenge Central. Okay. Mwenge Central tukatungire yisaza bete no kimanya ngo tuhikire tuja kuja nanyo mtungo wisaza then tubabungire nko bukama baitu ekikaguzo kyawe kibe ekikaguzo. This is a very intelligent question, because, and yes, that's exactly what we're aiming at. That's why we went from Saza to Saza to talk from district to districts, to be addressed by the Saza chiefs, because it's the Saza chiefs who would be able to introduce us to a person like Mr. Kachemia, so that we put value in what Mr. Kachemia is doing and we bring it to life. Writing books or writing books in the past, like having a novel, is good. But what we're doing now is that whatever you've written, ntugenda kitaha website, abantu bengi, not just not just one book can be bought. Many books, others can be read online, and that's one of the aim that we were aiming at this time. Thank you so much.
On that topic, can I also add something around the language?
Yes.
To reach the Tooro language.
Exactly.
Much
Thank
as
you.
reading is also a very good thing. I am aware of the Uganda kingdom, especially for the Baganda in the diaspora, where they get young children especially and teach them about Uganda, their culture, and I'm sure you'll appreciate, even our children who are living in the cities in Kampala.
Yes.
It would be great to see if such initiatives are there, or are they there already for the Tooro Kingdom, to make sure that our language, our culture, our food, the Mijenzo Yitu, Etakaba.
That's one of the initiatives that His Majesty is pushing us to do, because he knows he was in the diaspora, and he knows how much he missed out. So he does not want that to happen to his children or to our children of the children. But he wants everybody. Even now, when you got to see him, the first thing he asks is "Empako yawe." When you don't have it, naku empako. Which means to him, culture is so important. Yes, and that's why he wants it to be documented and also to be passed on to the children. or to the youth. Thank you.
Can I say one thing? Yeah. I'm very impressed by the fact that you're addressing the issue of culture. Research has shown that the top #1 attraction in the world is actually weather. 34 to 36% of the people who respond to Visa International Research say weather is #1. Yeah. But culture is also among the top 3. So understanding the value of culture can actually bring resources and opportunities to an area. But I also maybe ask Dennis, you probably have a discussion with UNDP, engage. You see, the one asking has the ability to write the right stuff. Yeah. If they could create a website, social media platforms, and you just spend a few months just documenting the history of the Butoro Runyakitara, really. I mean, Butoro and Bunyoro, because that are so related. The two cultures are very, very related. So if you have him involved and they're participating in documenting this history very well, then the young people have a chance to go to a certain platform that they can also learn from.
It's very interesting.
Let me add a little to that discussion, which is quite important, and we thank you so much for bringing up this very important topic. Some of the things which we are doing in getting this across is the building of the museum. Museum is a repository of all, past history, documented history and artifacts. And as government, we supporting the development of the Tooro Museum. We are yet to agree on exactly where it is going to be, but already the designs and the interventions with the municipal council have been done to identify certain pieces of land to make that possible. We're also supporting a training for cultural development. I think one of the groups called Kogere, there's a group called Kogere.
Yes, there is. And they're coming to show.
And they're coming to showcase. Yes. So there's a bit of training under that group that is going to be there. And Tinisa, you did talk about the digitalization of information. And I think that is very important, especially with the young people. And again, the thrust Amos put up that you are the ones to write your history. So the challenge goes to all of you. Please write your history. Please write about your culture. And you can document it, not on pen, on these old papers as some of us do, but you can use this. And this information stays for all the time. So we do encourage you to take the photos. At one time, I was looking for a photo of Mohoma Falls, and I couldn't get a good one, which means you have not taken these photos.
That's true.
Even when you go there. But when you take these photos and they are seen all over the internet, then people pick on them. Somebody will be teaching you, I think somebody is teaching you about digital marketing and how it works. The more you post, the more your likes get up. So that conversation will continue. And finally, let's use our institutions. Let's use our institutions to document, to record our people, so that this information can be followed on through time. So thank you so much for that question.
Thank you very much. Action point in terms of what Amos was talking about, engaging the UNDP. Luckily, Lorna from the UNDP is listening, and this falls under her docket, so I'm sure she's made note of that. But also the fact that culture changes. There are some things that are fundamental, like your tribe will not change, the king and the lineage, those are not going to change. But things evolve. We never used to wear these t-shirts. Now we're wearing cotton t-shirts. So it would be good to have that track record, so that in 1,000 years from now, some of you think I'm mad by talking about 1,000 years, but there will be some Tooro here.
Oh,
1,000 years from now.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
So we need to ensure that carries on. Who else has a question? Fantastic.
There are many.
Actor. You can hold both of them.
Can I sit here?
Yeah, by all means. Introduce yourself and ask your question.
My name is Kansi Merita. My pet name is Avoli, and I'm Omsita Baikilani. So I would like to explain in Tooro, and those people who cannot listen in Tooro, maybe one of us can translate.
Go ahead.
Kuongerezaho culture yetu, this man talked about culture, kuandika, kurora urundi, kusigaye turarora ga culture yitu, urundi abana abandi abadiza na baliongera. A youth center Mutswa haro isomero lya byanzarwa nibatuwegesa kubaza urulimi rwaitu no kuoleka twajwaraga tuta twakozesa gake mu bintu nk'ebikara. So bakajeta Rubengo School of Culture and nisima is it Talent Africa and UNDP habo kutuihaye no kuihaye Ekyooto MPANGO. It's very good because abantu abandi bali batakimanyire. In our culture Tooro we have Ekyooto ekyayigisaga abana kuandika no kubaza abana abato. It is there on every Sunday Ekyooto mukairirizi. Na abana mbenda kubaleta kwega about their culture. We are there. We here at Rubengo School of Culture nitumanya byanzarwa yaitu, amazina gaitu and other cultures. Yes.
We wouldn't know. So basically the solutions are already in existence.
Yes,
That's absolutely fantastic.
Okay. But can I correct him?
Sure.
Okay. Kansime, Mr. Kachome lyabalizi, so nkikacho kumuyata Mr. Ono Mseija, no bazibarali. Tunuko, hatunga kunyongo yesere Kansime aboli, akoni kyo tugambie, when you're talking, you introduce yourself first. Ebintu byone bimwina ha youth center, rukira baseija no yabaletiri. It's not Talent Africa. Talent Africa no babakozesa. Kyonka rukira baseija no yahaire bintu ebyo. Hangiriza rukira baseija. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
I know who you are, but introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Justice Kojo, and I'm the CEO to the Ultimate Group of Companies. I'm in aviation now as a pilot and also with a startup in aviation. First of all, by the way, I want to encourage you young people to ask questions, because if you can't ask Amos right now, you know he has a lodge in Tooro. If you can't ask him either to supply him with anything, let's say eggs, or you're not even asking your Minister of Tourism for an opportunity to volunteer, then I think that you're underselling yourselves. So I hope that you find it within yourself immediately and already to be asking questions. That's the culture. If you don't ask, Dennis,
You'll never know.
You will never know. My question is, and I'm glad that we have a government representative in this case. We have the private sector, Amos in this case, but we also have Owekitinisa for the Kingdom of Tooro. Mine really is, the last time I was here, actually, as we did a pilot study for this, the quickest thing was, how can we get a runway? How can we fly conveniently into Tooro? Because we all know what that means, okay? Looking at how much, for instance, Amos, you bled to make it here this morning, it could have basically been 23 minutes for you. And I'm going to challenge everyone here to imagine or take this into consideration. How long will it take anyone to drive from Nairobi to Fort Portal? If we're really calling this the most capital of capitals in Uganda for tourism. Now, if it's going to take you more than 12 hours, honestly, to come, let's say, from Nairobi to here, whereas it could have been 2.5, then I think we are underselling Tooro. Unfortunately, we don't have our Thames, the Thames in Tooro or the Hudson Bay in Tooro can't sail us all the way to Kampala or even to any of the other ports. And so I would like to be every stakeholder in this place here and now. It is impossible to sail for the most capital city of adventure tourism in Uganda without the opportunity to fly in. And therefore would like to pledge my time, and at least part of the contacts that I have. I already know that you're all very well connected, and so many other people here, to actually pursue for the immediate reopening, if not Saka, I mean, it's the kingdom. How, you know, I'm sure you can basically apportion us a square mile. Doesn't have to be, you know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that plea. I'm not sure whether Austin has an answer right now. This is the kind of stuff that may have to go on a board panel or something. But I think you highlight a very, very, very important issue. I don't know if they want to respond to that at this stage.
You know, it's interesting when you hear somebody talk about your dream, when you hear somebody adding on to your thoughts, when you hear somebody leading the way to where you're aiming at. When you read, we have the 2045 master plan from His Majesty. And in his plans, in the master plan, yes, we have to have an airstrip renovated or started off or kicked off. Why didn't we do it in the past? Because we thought or we aimed at having a bigger place. Saka as it is, if I can remember very, very well, the few things that I've done to make sure that, yes, we have an airstrip in this capital city, it cannot be get bigger.
Expanded.
It cannot be, it cannot expand it. But just as it is as well, if we could just have the way it is, it's a very, very good beginning. But thank you so much, Justice. I've had a lot, and I know you were aiming at flying in, and I wish you still can do it, because we're on 27th, the time of having the sports. Just come in and show us. Sometimes it's the action that can just put the fire into people. This is why we have Ekyooto MPANGO, or Muro MPANGO. Let's just do it. These are the kind of things that we're looking for. Somebody to come in and put fire in you, and then you feel hot and you start moving around. But thank you.
Justice, when you do fly in, could I be on your plane?
But Dennis, I was thinking, he has asked a very good question. However, I think we need to have a bigger collection of Tooro leadership in a room, and he asks the same question.
Yes, yeah. So those are the kind of things that we...
I don't know, we talked about it in the morning, but in the afternoon, during the tourism forum, we raised the question, because all the leaders will be there, and more importantly, also the World Bank will be there, and it's one of those issues on discussing connectivity that will be highlighted, so you would be welcome to highlight it.
Definite. I'm very much aware of time, and eternally grateful to our panelists. I know that Amos Professor literally drove in this morning. That gentleman left Kampala at 3 or 4, was flying in quite literally for this, and I'm sure everyone. So we don't want to keep you here any longer, not least because we'll have another session about business plans, business models, and things like that, which is the reason why we're here. So we'd like to close the questions, but can I ask that you give your parting shots to anyone here, and then we'll get on to the next session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Maybe I don't know what the protocol is. Let me start with Amos first.
I think Amos, but we have to time him.
Yeah. Oh yes.
No, but I've been good. You give me 5 minutes, I pick 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
1 minute.
5 minutes.
I think for me, one thing that I want the young people in the room to know is that you, the young guys, the advantage you have over me is time, is age. But I also can tell you from experience that as young people, you can become the ambassadors of Tooro. Make sure that your social media platforms are not saying, oh, I am yawning, I am hungry, that person doesn't like me. It should be social media that actually builds Tooro. Get over a weekend, go to one of the crater lakes, take pictures, showcase your Tooro, showcase everything that is within Tooro with your phone. It's just enough, by this enough. Number 2, for you, a young person, how do you progress in life? The first thing that you need to look out for is a skill. Look for something that you're so good at, right? Don't look for money first. Look for what? A skill. Number 2, look for what they've just talked about, networking. Can you know what everybody in this room does? Because when you have a skill, you need someone to give you the network. You need a network that will give you an opportunity to apply your skill. You get it? Number 3 will come very, very easy, and it's called what? Money. And then number 4 comes very easy, it's called what? Influence. So young people, this is a line you need to follow. If you start with money, when money disappears and you have no skill to offer and you have no networks, you become even more poorer. Are you getting it? When you're skilled, even when money gets lost, you go back to your skill, you go back to your networking, and it can come back, okay? Okay.
Thank you very much, Amos. There will be a test after this if you remember those 4 things, yeah? I hope you're making notes. Mr. Elias.
Thank you so much. The greatest excuse everyone uses when it comes to starting a business or succeeding is that we don't have capital, isn't it? That is a Greek word. And capital means this. It does not mean this. It means this. So that is where it all begins. What ideas are you putting across and how are you able to sell them? You had even in the chronology of events what you need to start with, what skill do you have, what network do you have, then capital will come in. The moment we start by saying how much money are we going to use to turn ourselves around, then you lock yourself because you'll never have that money. Not even Bill Gates has enough. So let's begin by knowing what we want to do, get skilled in it, network to get the right connections to do something, and then those resources will start adding up. I think that is a better way of looking at things rather than locking ourselves into, I don't have money.
Thank you. Or worse, waiting for government to get young.
The government also broke.
Maybe Bill Gates.
Lastly, but by no means least, Nisa, if you could give us your parting shots, and I'm sure the shots of His Majesty in your capacity, please.
Ningoza kubanza kubasima for making this time to be here. It's very, very important that among your busy schedules, you've actually managed to make it on time and be here. Mabanza mwetera munga. That's point number 1. Point number 2, you have all the support from the kingdom to become better citizens, to make Tooro shine. And that is from His Majesty. Secondly, or thirdly, it is entirely up to you. It's not your fault that you could be born poor, but it's your fault
If you die poor.
if you die poor.
That's true.
Because you've had all this time. No. You've had all the time to change that statement to your advantage. Mostly, and really, really very important, when they talked about skills, they talked about everything else, find a niche. Akantu akarungi. Akaneyo kukora no yogonde zamu. Isn't it? Yes. Love what you're doing. Don't just do it for the heck of it. If you love what you're doing, you will never even realize that you're working.
That's what I do.
Have passion. We're all being driven by passion. That's why you see a man like this leave all his work because he's running here. When he starts talking, he can never stop. There's passion.
Passion, eh?
That's the passion we're talking about. Okay? So this is where, that's the best way to put yourself, and you'll never know what has hit you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Webara Munonga. Oh, Webara Muno. I think I got that one right. So, we'd like to let our panel to leave. A huge round of applause, everyone, for the fantastic nuggets of wisdom that we've had today. I'd like at this stage to invite my colleagues to take over the next session. I think you may want to have a comfort break if you want to use the toilets. By the way, this is one of the things we did not do. We didn't do the typical things. I think fire exit is here. I think there's another one there. I think the toilets are outside and turned left. All right. I don't know where the gents are and where the female ones are. But over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that session. I hope we have picked something. I hope we are learning. So we are preparing for the business, for the next session, which is the time to see what these people have shared, how we can do something about it. We don't want you to just listen and go home. We want to start here and now. But before we go forward, I want you to recognize the presence of our sponsors. We have UNDP. Do you know what UNDP is? You don't know what UNDP is? But can someone tell us what it is? I'm not saying that I'm not trying to test, but it is very important that we know who is doing everything to make sure that we are here and we are benefiting something. First of all, the Omkama of Tooro, that's right? He has put this together, and I would like, Use, Angara, Hangiriza Butam. Anyway, so we say together, Hangiriza Butam. But I think I'm not here. We are very, I'm sorry to say this, but we are a little bit mean with our hand claps and our voices. There are very many people out there who want to clap and they can't, right? And I'm sure everybody who is here is doing something that we appreciate, right? So a hand clap won't break you, right? So if I say we thank our people of Tooro, I don't think that it's so costly for you to say that, right? Because there are people out there, there are people online, they are filming this, and I'm sure it would be a good moment for Tooro who are not in this place, but Tooro all over the world, to know what the king is doing right in this place, to make sure that young people get empowered, right? Okay, let's say together and we thank the king of Tooro for what he is doing for us, specifically the young people. Hangiriza Butam. Hangiriza Butam. Hangiriza Butam. Thank you so much. And then we have UNDP. Anyone who knows what UNDP is? Yes? We can hear you. United Nations Development Plan. Okay? United Nations Development Program. We have representatives. I don't want to go in a place that is not mine. We are going to understand what they know. But the word United Nations should be ringing a bell, right? If the United Nations, I don't know if you know how many member states are in that organization, are here to make sure that you can do something with your life, right? Then I would like to recognize BRAC Uganda. I'm sure we have representatives from BRAC Uganda. Jimmy Oting, he's one of them. And they're doing so much to make sure that we get what we need as young people to get to the next step. As you can see, we have promoting resilience among youth entrepreneurs. It wouldn't be nice if I interpreted the meaning of those words, but keep in mind our sponsors, and we appreciate them so much. Mwebale muno our BRAC for supporting us. Let's give them a hand clap. Mwebale muno our UNDP, let's give them a hand clap. Mwebale muno Tooro Kingdom. So I'm going to take this opportunity to call Kagoda Rogers. He's going to help us to find out how we can do something with what we just shared in this panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I'm called Rogers Kagoda. I basically design businesses. It's my job, my career. So what I'm going to be doing today is to make sure that I can make sense out of the discussion that we had today. And then I want to see how I can bring that discussion back to what you're doing and how we can improve what you're doing. Is it okay if I remove the mask? Okay. Okay, so did you love the discussion? Did you enjoy the discussion? Was it fruitful? Okay, so somehow I'm supposed to write on this. I don't know how you'll be able to see. I'll try to figure that out. I think I picked out one of the major things I picked out. Oh, if this works. So one of the major things I picked out in the discussions was, they said Fort Portal is the capital of, they said it's the capital of, okay. Okay, this is going to be a long day. Okay, so I'm going to start asking a few questions, okay? When they say it's the capital of tourism, what opportunities do we see as the capital of tourism? They've talked about some of the opportunities, right? Yes, sir?
Locking in of visitors from all over the world.
Locking in of visitors from all over the world. Okay? So that's the first opportunity. Locking in visitors from all over the world. When we say the capital of tourism, what opportunity do you see apart from locking in visitors? Yes? Employers? Employment. So we see employment. Any other opportunity we see? The capital of tourism. Tourism sites. Interesting. The capital of tourism, yes? Exposure. Great, great. Exposure. Anything else?
Boosting the economy, because when those people come, they spend money here.
Okay. So boosting the economy. When it's the capital of tourism, there's an opportunity to boost the economy. Okay? Boosting of the economy. Any other?
There will be rapid development of infrastructures.
Rapid development of infrastructures. Good stuff. Anything else? Anything? We are the capital of tourism. The capital of tourism. It's huge, yeah? Any other opportunity? Okay. Yes? Market for agricultural products. When we are the capital of tourism, what opportunities do we see? Okay, so I'm hoping we are writing some of these things, right? So we are the capital of tourism, and one of the first opportunities we're seeing is that we can have an influx of tourists coming from other countries all over the world. The second is employment opportunities. The third is we're looking at a huge number of tourism sites. We have how many crater lakes? We have 50? Over 55 crater lakes. Of course, exposure, the ability to boost the economy, rapid development of infrastructure, and then markets for agriculture products. Okay? So, we are the capital of tourism. And when we are the capital of tourism, we've just discovered the opportunities we have as Fort Portal. Okay? And you've just given me some of the opportunities. So my question is, of all these opportunities of tourism, of all these opportunities we have of being the capital of Fort Portal, I want each and every one of you to tell me what you're doing that is contributing to the opportunities under the capital. I don't want you to think of something new. I just want you to tell me what you're doing today. Today. I don't want you to think of anything fancy. Okay? I just want you to tell me what you're contributing today. Either you're a student, you're just learning, I just want you to tell me what you're doing. Okay? So I'll take it back to make this conversation more relatable. We are the panel of discussion. And one of the major things I picked out of the discussion is we are the capital of tourism in Uganda. And under that, I've been asking you, so what opportunities do you see when you say you are the capital of tourism? One of the opportunities you told me is you're locking in visitors from all over the world because you're the capital of tourism. The second thing you told me is that there's opportunity for employment because you're the capital of tourism. You've told me about the tourism sites. You've told me about the exposure. You've told me about boosting the economy, rapid development of the infrastructure, and then you've told me about the market for agriculture products, maybe even for other things, okay? So my question is, how many of us are under hairdressing? Hairdressing? How many of you came for hairdressing? Okay. Is this what we do today, or is this a skill we want to learn? It's a skill we want to learn. Okay. But what else are you doing if you're not hairdressing? How are you contributing to the capital of tourism today before you learn the skill? You're still in school? That's what you're doing? That's what she said? Yes. You're doing hairdressing, right? You're doing hairdressing? Okay. So some of the people here are already doing hairdressing. How many of us are in agriculture? Agriculture? Okay. How many of us are in, either you're doing a business that is related to supporting the tourism industry, you're in travel, okay? Okay. Okay, how many of us are not doing anything?
It is okay.
It is okay.
No wrong answer.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to do, okay? Basing on what you're doing today, I want to try to spark your imagination. I want to try to make you think not at only hairdressing where you are or that skill you want to learn, but I want to try to make you imagine bigger on what that hairdressing or what that tourism, either travel business you're doing, that can do, okay? But then I'm going to do this with an activity, okay? So, what's a cow in Tooro? Ente, okay? So I want us to start thinking, okay, right now. So how many business ideas can you create from a cow? If today you are the cow, like at your home, you are the ente, okay? How many business ideas today can you create? And I'm going to give you 3 minutes or 2. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I want you to come up with 10 business ideas that you can get from a cow in, should it be 2 minutes? 3? 3. Oh, let's do 3 minutes. And the clock starts now. 3 minutes. 10 business ideas. You all have notepads? You have notebooks, sorry?
You don't have. Let's stand up fresh face and write.
Do we have notebooks and pens?
Can I create from a cow? How many business ideas?
I want even the guys on the camera to give us some ideas. Eh? It's not about only you. Eh? Everyone. How many business ideas can we have from a cow? Ente. How many business ideas?
Anybody don't have a notebook?
If you don't have a notebook, you could help a friend with a paper just to write on, if they have a pen, as we get you the notebooks. Linda, you're also creating? Yeah. 10 business ideas, eh? You're thinking, eh?
Anyone else don't have a notebook?
Yeah, 5 to 10 business ideas. What business ideas can you have from a cow today?
We have a minute.
Are you going to make the presentation and you're going to ask them which ideas they can create from what has been discussed here in the tourism industry?
Yeah. Okay. Then I add in a bit of value proposition. As you're thinking of the idea, you should think of the pain, gain.
And this day, you can
It's
do
late,
that.
eh?
You can do all that.
You can just make them create ideas, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our time is up.
Let's give it more 30 seconds or a minute. Let's give it a minute. The ideas are not coming, eh? Ente ideas are not coming, eh? Is it ente? We're good? Interesting. We're good? Are we done? Do we have 5 to 10 business ideas? Okay. Who is ready to go? Who is confident about their ideas? Yes. Give me.
Well, I'm Nyangoma Speciosa.
Yeah.
So, how many business ideas can I create
Yes.
from a cow? One, I can sell milk and
Me-
get money out of it.
Get.
I can produce cow ghee out of milk
Okay.
and get money.
2.
I can make a shawe out of cow ghee
3.
and get money out of it.
Okay.
I can make yogurt out of milk, still get money out of it.
4.
I can make manure out of the cow waste.
5.
Get money out of it.
Yeah.
Or rare bulls to get semen for insemination. I can get money out of it.
6.
For meat production, I
7.
decide to rear only cow like bulls.
Okay.
Just for meat production.
Okay. 7. Still at 7.
That's all I have.
That's all. Thank you. Thank you. Now, next, do not mention what she has mentioned. We already have 7 ideas. Okay, let's do it.
So, my name is Namara Christine.
Yeah.
So, my ideas, actually, I don't think she got them from me, but
speak about those that she doesn't have.
I can use milk to get chocolate.
Okay, 8.
Then go to baking.
That's 1, okay. Baking, 2, okay.
And then bread. You can use skins to make comic sandals.
3,
Then I can make buttons out of coins.
4. That's it, okay, thank you. Do not mention what they have talked about, okay? Let's have him. Yeah.
And there are 2 or 3. I can use oxen for cultivation.
Okay.
I can also use my fat bulls for transport means.
Okay.
Yeah, that is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes?
Thanks so much. My name is Paul Atwoki.
Okay.
Supplement. I have the following ideas. One is using the butter which has already been produced to make cheese.
Okay.
2, also engaging in tea selling. You make tea out of the milk.
Okay.
Start a business from there.
Okay.
Also, we can do agribusiness tourism. You can rear the cows and then people come and see how you have done it and then you earn some money.
Interesting.
Lastly, we can also make biogas out of the
Interesting. Good stuff. Anyone else? I want to see who went beyond. Kojo is there. Okay.
I have just maybe one more point to add on my fellows because they have the same body oil.
Body.
Yeah, some of us remember, I don't know, maybe some are too young, but we used to have that oil made out of cow ghee that they used to put a megaju in. It was used for braids.
Mm. Good stuff. If I'm thinking, okay. For bride price. Why not? Okay?
I just thought of one more. You can say to make it a business to sell cows.
To sell cows themselves. Okay, interesting. Yes?
I wanted to add one, which I don't know if having a cow will mention things that benefit us, but for me, I feel owning a cow will create business for patients.
For?
Veterinary doctors.
Oh.
Medicine.
Okay. No, business for you. I don't want business for the other person, for you. But still, it's okay. It creates an opportunity for someone. Yes?
I can use cows for digging.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff. Anyone still thinking more?
From the horns.
Okay. Okay. Kondere is buttons.
They are from horns.
Oh, music instrument. Eh? Okay. That's a good one. Eh?
You can make drums out of skins for cow.
The drums out of the skin. Nice. And Koja.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you guys for very interesting ideas. I think I was very intrigued by Atoki, this gentleman who said selling the experience, experience is out of just having cows at home. I would like to say that I'm Ugandan, I'm born here, but I have never milked a cow. Yes, I don't know how to, unfortunately, and I feel bad about it. And if any of you has a cow that I can milk for 50,000 later, I'm happy too.
Business. Who has a cow? Who has a cow and gets 50,000?
Whose home are we going to?
Eh?
Anybody? Whose home are we going to milk the cow? Oh my goodness. You guys are kidding.
Milking, okay? I'm not even taking the milk, okay? So in other words, the experience milking a cow is a business.
What's your name?
And I can tell you that by far...
Adolf Mwesige.
We are going to Adolf's home.
Oh, fantastic, I'm happy to. Deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can tell you by far all of... I don't know about Dennis. Actually, I don't know about camera crew, you know? I don't know who can milk. I can't. But obviously you have the European market, the North Americans, the Chinese, those actually do it more industrial machines. But the experience of it is a whole different thing. So that is one. I also would like to tell you that I've never grazed all my life. Never, unfortunately. I say this with a lot of pain, by the way. And so for me to be at my lodge, let's say at Chaninga, I've done my other activities and had the farm where you basically can graze and articulately tell me what I have to be looking out for to ensure the animals are all together, they are all nurtured, well fed, so that they give us the right quantities of milk in the end. I would be happy too, because I'm taking that as an experience. So I would actually go down that lane. I've heard you talk about all the byproducts, the ghee, similar concept, okay? So ghee, the hide, how do you process the hide after? You know, into, I think you talked about the sandals, right? All of those, I would like to actually challenge you to think about them as experiences that can bring you money. In other words, you're not putting in a lot of effort and time to say going to process ghee, have X amount of it to sell. It's only an experience. In other words, you make that amount of yogurt and you're out. You have your experience, take your yogurt. And again, down the line, you already have your products that are finished, that one is actually happy to take out handy. I have a photo here. It's very, very unfortunate that we can't see it all, but this was us riding in Karamoja, 2018. Okay? Maybe I'll project it later. And I remember that what they did with this cow, the Karamojongas all perceive them. They still believe in the gods of the land. Okay? And as you all can see here, there's 3 gods. These are the 3 gods. Okay? That hill, the middle one, and that. So we go there cycling, and we basically paid 500,000 to witness how they sacrifice a cow for the gods. Yes, he basically reaches out, okay? This guy, they are grazing. They are grazing, and this guy comes out, reaches out, aims for the rib into the heart. Eventually, you see the cow stagger into going down. And then, as soon as it goes down, they come and suck the blood raw. It's a party, it's a real party. And they basically apportion the whole cow to, okay, 3 pieces. That got this and that. An experience. Who knew? You're not even taking the meat. None of us touched it. No, we have paid 500,000 to witness. Okay? So you are thinking, but you still gotta think. And we want you guys to actually think. In that direction, you match that selling experiences, you're going to get rich. You're going to make a difference here.
Fantastic.
At work here, Mont, you know, the farm experience, what you talked about is real, okay? This is actually how I operate my farm, okay? This is what we basically do. I don't even understand the language. How the cows get dipped into getting rid of the ticks and all of that. This is where we do the milking. This is basically where we take them grazing. It is an experience because someone wants to do the same, and you will charge them money to basically showcase your farm as a model. Cheers, we all good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep thinking that.
Thank you. Thank you. So, as we were thinking everything, Kojo was thinking of experience. So why is he thinking in that direction? And this is why we're having this conversation today. We're having this conversation today because we are young people, which means that if we're to create a business today, that business has to run for the next 5, 10 years. The question is, are you creating an idea that has been existing for the past 20 years that you can't take it to the next 20 years? Okay? So as you're thinking of business ideas, I want to show you what I've been thinking of a cow. Okay?
This guy has really excited me.
Mm.
In that, in our arrangement, in our resort, which we are developing in Charsos now,
Okay.
Shenjuje district,
Yeah.
we have one corner where we are going to have to the maximum 3 cows.
Yeah.
And these will be indigenous and crosses, the
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
Now, the idea is when a tourist comes from Belgium, from America, from, we shall be inviting him to go and teach him how to milk. Now, in the process of teaching him, he will be paying us.
Yes.
Now, the milk he gets from the cow, we take him to the kitchen, he boils his own milk and he's going to pay us for that service. And when he drinks the milk,
yes,
he has to pay us.
Yeah.
And he has to wash.
Yeah.
The things he has used in milking
Yeah.
and drinking.
Yes.
And he pays us.
Yes, experience. Good stuff. Okay. So that's it about the cow. And you can see the thinking, you can see where we're going. But I picked a few things online and I wanted to share with you some ideas of what really just a cow can be able to do. So the first idea is called Ninja Cow Farm. So this is a movie. For you, when you thought of a cow, the first thing is you thought of the byproducts and the simple thing. But you can't create a story out of a cow. You can create a story out of anything we have in Fort Portal. And that can be a movie, that can translate into something, can be sold somewhere else. So this is called Masters. The second one is a milk vodka. Dennis, do you want to check out this vodka? So as you're thinking of a cow, in terms of you looking at milk, these guys are thinking in terms of vodka. Can we utilize the milk from the cow to create a vodka? And it's available today. Okay? So as you're thinking, are you thinking in the direction that is taking your business the next 5 to 10 to 20 years ahead? Okay? Give me another idea. So this is one of my favorites, has a little bit of tech because I'm from the tech space, but it's interesting. It's called a cow cam. So what they do is they build cameras, and these cameras are built for cows to monitor farms. Okay? So instead of installing cameras all over the farms, they build cameras that walk with cows to monitor the progress of how the cows are, what is the farm, where is the most maybe grass for the cows and everything. So this is what they are selling for them. So all this is combined, it's in the cloud, and you can come and buy it as a service for your farm. The idea is coming from a cow. Okay, next idea. So this is one of the complex, but it's interesting because the company doing this should not be doing it. This is Microsoft. Microsoft has ventured in cows and have created what they call connected cattle. So they're saying our wearables and the cloud help farmers get their cows pregnant. Do we know Microsoft? The guys who make Windows and all that stuff. Now they ventured into cows. So they're using what we call artificial insemination and artificial intelligence, AI, to create a product for farms. Show me how it works. So this is basically what they do. So they put a monitoring thing on the cow. That monitoring thing helps to know the time when the cow is on eat. Yes, so it helps to know when the cow is on eat, so that they can know when they can inseminate the cow. So what they are doing is they've connected a wearable, they've put it on the cow, they're using artificial insemination and artificial intelligence to monitor, and they set up also this entire system on your farm. Now, this is from Microsoft. We would be thinking it's weird. Okay? Next. One of my favorite, which I think we can bring to Fort Portal. So this is called Cow Parade. It is the biggest
event in the world about cows. And what does it do? They collect over 1,000 artists globally, all over the world. And what they do is they collect like over 1,000 cows and put them in the field, and these guys have to paint cows for a full week. So they paint cows, and do you know what's interesting? You pay a fee to enter to see the design, the painting on cows. Get? Next. Oh, what has it done? It has been able to reach to 300 million people across the world. It has been able to raise 30 million US dollars. It has been in 75 cities. Just imagine, collect your cows, paint them, collect artists, and whoever comes in is paying maybe $10 to $50 or maybe more, and you're selling the experience of just a cow. Next. Quite controversial. This guy is called Damian. He's an artist. What he does, he picks cows that are about to die, that are maybe have been affected by a disease or something. And what he does is chops them in the middle, create a museum, and store it for the next 20 years. So he has created a museum for dead cows, like just there, things that are living, and anyone can walk in and pay a fee. So his inspiration was from his village, where a lot of cows were dying, and he grew up on a farm and thought he could store that history over time. And that's what he was able to create. Okay? Yeah, same thing. That's how his place looks like. So people get in and pay. Next. Yeah, and he has been able to make that money. Any more idea? I think that's it. Any? Next slide. Oh, if you search online, if you think that you're thinking right about a cow, there is over 2 million results about cow apps. Like most people now have created apps around cows. So if you try to search online, you'll find a lot of stuff around cow apps. So for milk, for what? They're not just thinking of buy products. Okay. Now, question is, I just want to go back to something on top. First, there is a slide I want to talk about. I think the third or second, as I conclude this. Okay, so I just want to caution something, okay? All of you are between the age of 16 to maybe 35 or 40 as we hear, okay? Now, as you're thinking today, as you're thinking of tapping into the opportunities and contributing to the capital of tourism, I also want you to start thinking long term. As you're thinking of hairdressing, I want you to start thinking the better way you can make hairdressing, okay? Because whatever you're building today is for the next 5 years. So I don't want you to think on only the ground of milk and butter, which was the start of everything. I want you to think more. I want you to think of experience. I want you to think more of what you can do. We are doing these business clinics not to let you just do what you've been doing day to day. No, we want you to think more. We want you to take an extra step. Just go down a bit. So, why? Because of something really vital. You need to think of creating more for the future because of this thing called timing of ideas. Do you guys know that you can create an idea that is already expired? Do you know that you can have an expired business idea? Yeah, so you really need to know about timing of ideas in the early days. Why? Because you might be creating something. A shop was exciting to start 15 years back, Did you see people who started supermarkets and have shops like 15 years back or 20? It was exciting. Today you start a shop. I'm not saying that it's bad to start the shop and run it, but you start the shop and 6 months down the road, you don't have stock. And you're closing the shop. Why? Because timing of business ideas, you're recreating something that has been done over time and you want to take it to the future, yet it's expiring. So why we want you to think of experience, why we want you to think more, is because we want you to create projects. If it's hairdressing, I want you to show me the experience you're creating in hairdressing. And how do you use that hairdressing and tap into the opportunity, the tourists that are coming here, the hotels that are setting up? How will your idea tap into the opportunities we've been talking about today? And how will that idea run for the next 5 to 10 years? Okay? Just next slide. Okay, so this is where I conclude this discussion. Okay? Have you guys heard about Industrial Revolution? Have you heard about the change of time from the old age to the new age? Something of that kind? So let me try to show you something why it's very crucial and why you need to look at timing of ideas. So in the 1780s or 50s, it was the first industrial revolution. And it was about two things, or three. It was about mechanization, and this mechanization was driven by two things. It was driven by water and steam. So let me explain. In the 70s, in the 1780s or 50s, most people by then were thinking about how can we make things by utilizing water and steam, either to produce, either for transport. So railroads used to work by coal and steam. Everything by then used to work by those two things, water and steam. Like that was it. That was the first industrial revolution. Okay? You're going to go to learn a little bit about history now. So the second one was driven by electricity. And the aim of electricity was to mass produce. Okay? It was about mass production. So in this age, we started to see companies coming up. This is when you started to hear things like assembling, production, and all that kind of thing. Now, it seems like it's new here to have a factory, but it's not actually. It has existed for a long period of time. So the third industrial revolution is it's about automation, and it has been driven by two things, and information technology. So information technology and electronics have enabled the automation to exist in the third industrial revolution. And lastly, where we are in the fourth industrial revolution. Okay? This is a technology one. It's a combination of the three. You have the electricity available, you have the computers, you have everything. So it is categorized by Internet of Things, mobile technology, access to internet, the things we have today, right? The social media and everything. Now, it's a very, very interesting time to be alive today. In this revolution. Very interesting, because I can use my mobile phone to talk to anyone, anywhere. I can use my mobile phone to sell anything. So it's an interesting time to be alive, but it's also complex. Why? Because things expire faster. Like you get outdated easily in this revolution. So it requires someone to think faster, to create faster, and be updated. Okay? So as you come for the business clinics, what you need to know is that we don't want you to only think of hairdressing the same way it has been done, which is maybe do it at home and that's it. We want you to start thinking of what more can be on hairdressing, leveraging on the fourth industrial revolution, leveraging on the opportunities we have in the capital of tourism, which is Fort Portal, and how do we make our hairdressing better. Do I make sense? Okay? So, in the next sessions I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be talking about hairdressing and how we can build it better with different things around it. I'm going to be talking about agriculture and how we can build better things around it to fit in the Industrial Revolution. I'm going to be talking about tourism business and how we can build simple things around it. Okay? So, this is it for this morning. I'm going to leave you with the tasks. Okay? My first task is, Marie, what do we have?
Okay. Thank you so much, Rajas. I told you not to be mean with your hands because I don't know. Very many people would want to clap and they can't. Thank you so much, Rajas, for that. I'm going to help us go through the task. So we're going to share this tool or this piece of paper. It's more like a guidance to trigger our minds to think, right from what Rajas has told us, right? I don't know if you have access to internet, but if you don't have internet in this state, you need to start thinking about it, right? So that's why I'm saying that you need to understand what Rajas has just summarized the revolution we are in, right? You get it? We have 55 crater inlets in this place. We have that they are here. So you have a computer that you don't have, right? You have something that is different. You have you have cows. You have what are those beans that they don't have covers? You have ferinda, right? We don't have it. So all the things that I'm talking about, in line with the fourth industrial revolution, mobile technology, your phone, right? That is one. Internet of Things, you've heard or you've seen that someone can lock their car using their phone, right? You know that someone can book to come to Fort Portal, a hotel, using their phone, right? That's what I'm talking about. So, Amameganyinamwiru, Ferinda, and everything. How do we generate ideas, or how do we become contributors to the industry we are interested in, tourism, agriculture, but this tool is going to keep reminding you. I know it's easy to slide back to ghee, okay? It's easy to slide back to milk, but this tool is supposed to help you think through it. So we have, we had a panel discussion here from people who are experienced and have been in the real world, right? And somehow the things they've talked about, the kingdom, what is possible, and what they're planning to do, because you can be contributors to what they're planning to do, right? You see an opportunity there. So the first part is we have the opportunities that we can identify in the region. Why we called it a region? Because this is Bunyorokta, right? You might not be from Fort, you might be from where? Chenjojo, or the surrounding area, right? Kabalega was from this side, right? So you might have identified something. So in this part, we have the opportunities that you have identified, okay? Rogers' presentation, his biggest opportunity was a cow. He has seen a cow and he's trying to show us different things. Kojo has showed you a whole different thing of what you would think you would do. So just have a simple, either you can explain or just if it's easy to write like milking a cow experience, you can just write that. So identify the opportunity that you see from what we have discussed and from what Wekesa and Owechtinisa and Ambassador talked about, right? Then after that is, we have the next question, which is saying what factors support the success of the idea, right? The factors are mostly around what Rogers has been presenting about the fourth industrial revolution, right? Digital technology, internet, your mobile phone, the community around us. How many of us are on WhatsApp? How many contacts? Who thinks they have the biggest number of contacts on WhatsApp here? How many do you have? Yes, Kojo? Over 3,000? Over 500? Hey, we are coming. We came from 3,000, 2,000, 500. If you have 5, it is okay. There is nothing wrong because there's someone who doesn't have WhatsApp. Yes, right? So I want to hear from us. The biggest number of contacts? Oh my goodness. I have 2. You don't believe? No, in short, I'm not on WhatsApp. Because I don't want. I wanted to hear from you. You know, I have that teacher thing in me. You refuse, I insist. 452. So we are talking about the factors. So some of the factors could be, I'm using these examples to understand what you're going to be doing here, right? Now, I don't know what you're doing with the 450 contacts. These guys, they have what they're doing with their 500 and all that. We shall hear from them. But I'm showing you that you already have a community on your digital gadget. Plus the fourth industrial revolution, plus being in Tooro. What idea can we create from that? Are you getting the sequence? Okay? So you will help me understand what resources can support the success of your idea. Okay? Then we also have threats. There are things that can limit us. I know money is a limiting factor, either for people who are either for Bill Gates or for me or for you, right? But I don't think at this phase it's a priority, but the other things that are likely to stop you to go forward, right? Maybe Amabeganyanamwiri is only accessed by the roads. I didn't say that it is, but I'm saying maybe. You get the threat I'm talking about. Then we have the market demand from what you have seen around. Maybe you've realized that people who go to Amabeganyanamwiri are mostly tourists from a certain country, or maybe you've realized that in the COVID times, people from Kampala are starting to come for experiences here, right? And then down here, once you have seen the opportunity, right? You're seeing there's an opportunity in milking. There's an opportunity in grazing. There's an opportunity in, I don't know what is here. I'm here to find out. I came yesterday, but I think by the time I leave here, I can tell a story of Tooro to somebody out there. So once you have identified the opportunity and seen what do you think can make it successful, then what is your actual idea? Are you getting the difference? That's the third step. My idea is to bring people to Tooro to teach them how to milk a cow. My idea is to bring people to Tooro to take them to Amabeganyanamwiri. My idea is to bring people to Tooro and teach them how to speak Tooro. My idea is to bring people from Belgium and teach them to translate words from English to Tooro. My idea is to do a salon business that focuses on this and this. You get it? Because you've already showed us the factors. Then what we are trying to say here is we understand that some of you either have businesses, right, that are existing right now, and some of you are trying to create things for the first time, right? You already have a salon business, but from what Rogers has enlightened you, you want to take it the next step. Maybe people have been coming to your salon, and maybe you want to start teaching people how to create specific braids. You get it? So that means that you're adding to an existing business. So you're supposed to, we gave you a space to describe because sometimes your idea is huge and you have like many words to make me understand it. But I would love if you take that you're doing something that is new, or you're doing an add-on. Maybe you want to improve how you've been doing things. Okay? Now, there is no bad idea. If you feel like I've given you one piece of paper and it's not enough, you can ask for an extra one because you might have more than 3 ideas, right? Now, I want to tell you something. At this point in life, in Uganda, in America, in Saudi Arabia, one thing is for sure. Thinking is not yet illegal. It is not. So think, okay? Think because it's not yet what? No one is going to arrest you for thinking. No one is going to punish you for thinking. Are we together? And I'm going to be around. These things sometimes they might not be as easy, especially if you're doing it for the first time. But the trick why we gave you notebooks is that, you remember when you're in school and you had to do fine art by force in senior 1 and senior 2? You always had somewhere you first do sketches. So try to first think in your notebook. You can even first list the ghee up to where we are right now. I'm still using the example of a cow, right? Okay? Then from there you can say, I don't feel this is a good idea. I don't feel this is a good idea. I don't feel this is a good idea. Before you start writing where? Here. Okay? And feel free to ask around because someone might say something and it will intrigue your inner thinker. Yeah? And let's avoid from what we've learned. Let's not all be doing cows, because they've said cows. I mean, Tooro is rich. It is the capital of tourism. Okay? Any questions? I'm going to share a tool to all of us. And if you have any questions, I'm going to come to you individually. I explain to you. But we are in the 4th industrial revolution. Actually, I don't know, if you don't have data, I'm going to offer my phone and you can try to know what is in the 4th industrial revolution. One more thing to remark is I'm not collecting these here and now. I'm collecting them maybe later in the day because I want you to first do the sketches in your book, cross, accept, try to think, then you can fill this, okay? But we should have them before we leave this place in the evening. Huh? It's not yet illegal to think. It isn't. Don't forget that. Thank you so much. Mwebale muno kumpulisa. I'm doing good, right? I think I'll leave here when I'm already in the Royals. I don't know what you're going to add on me. Hey. Empako? Yeah, cake. Movie tokati? Hey. Very good. So let me share this. If you have any questions, they are welcome. And don't limit yourself. We are enjoying this. Dennis, Rogers, Kojo can also even contribute something. I've already seen, his mind is boiling. So don't lose the chance to talk to these guys, okay? But don't stay the same. You can't be like someone who has stayed in class today. The other Tinisa, and you be in the presence of Amos Wekesa, and you be in the presence of Ambassador, and you be in the presence of Dennis, and you be in the presence of Marie Antoinette. That's my name. Breathe. And you be in the presence of Kojo, and you're leaving this place the same way. It's not just your parents, not just your husband, not just your wife. Are you trying to understand what I'm trying to push us to do? Please don't take the same. At least if you are in salon business and everybody's plaiting hair on the head, start thinking of how can we, I don't know, if everybody's plaiting colored hair, let us see how we can plait eyebrows. No, I don't know what's happening here, but in Kampala, going to the salon to cut eyebrows, you need 15,000. Yes, and then if you want permanent ones, you need 400,000. 400,000 Ugandan shillings. If you don't want to wake up every morning to brush your eyebrows, you go somewhere, that is on a discount. But under normal circumstances, it's 800. Yes. And people are willing to pay for it. Do you really think that before do you think someone can pay you that? Can you pay that to someone? Yes, you can, right? So don't limit anything. I don't know, maybe here there is a certain kind of grass that is supposed to be eaten by cows that is not in Ankole, that is not in Uganda. What experience can we get from there? Are we geared up? Do we feel the energy? It's not illegal to do what? I want us to say it out loud. It's not illegal to think. Possible Tooro are soft-spoken. I've spoiled my friend. I have a friend, she's from here. She's called Komchea. It's from Babito clan, right? Yes. So what is important is that you're going to be soft-spoken when I leave. It is okay. But for now, I need your energy. Otherwise, it's not fair to us and for the people that have done this work. It is not illegal to think. It is not illegal to think. It is not illegal to think. So every time you start thinking of things that you feel are not okay, just remember that, okay? And you will have, at least when I come to go through, I want to see 5 pages spoiled with words and ideas. Okay? Thank you so much for listening to me. Mwebale muno kumpuluza. And I think I'm going to distribute the papers. Feel free to talk to anybody. I don't think we are being arrested for talking to people. And no one is judging us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our sponsors, BRAC Uganda. Thank you, UNDP. Thank you, the Kingdom of Tooro. Rukira Basaija, webale muno. Am I right? Yes. And our participants, we are humbled. Thank you for keeping time. Thank you for taking a step that people are not taking out there. Banange, facilitators, we are clapping for these people. Tubaterere mungalo. We are clapping for you. Thank you so much. And don't accept to leave the same, okay? All right. So in a few minutes, we're going to know what's next on program. These you're not handing in right now. I'm giving you to keep them and start thinking. If we have maybe a lunch break, as you're looking at that food, what can you do with it? Okay? All right.
You can be completing that, and then we resume at 12:30.
All right.
So you may want to use the toilet, you may want to
stretch.
Or to resume at 12:30. If you guys want to listen to this, you know it makes sense. And then we're also going to have another session around, remember what we were talking about earlier, digital stuff. Very interesting session. It's going to be delivered by someone who has done this kind of stuff in the tourism space. So it's very interesting to see how they've gone about it. But in the meantime, do that activity. You're welcome to take a walk and maybe use the toilets or something. Take some fresh air. We've been here for quite a while since morning. Stretch a bit, and then come back at promptly 12:30.
12:30. Huh? 12:30. Okay? Kojo is the next guy. That man was been pushing you ideas you've not had. You can't miss. You can't. So let's move out. No, let's not stay seated. Let's not be comfortable. Get up. Get up, get up. Get up, stretch. We need to get the blood moving, and then ideas will start moving from feet to the head, from the head